I wanted to do a quick video of why I think gang stalking is not taken serious by the public. And it has mostly to do with the bizarre explanations a lot of people have for gang stalking. In my situation, the gang stalking started as workplace harassment and what's called workplace mobbing, and simply continued until after I left I was fired from the position for insubordination for reporting who I thought was the ringleader, but apparently it wasn't, or at least it isn't anymore. And that's kind of what happened. So essentially what happened is, where I worked, there was a gentleman that was hired in the same role as me, but he was incompetent. He still is incompetent. In fact, there's been a number of complaints brought against him by many clients that work there, or not that work there, many clients that go there and have had to work with him, as well as his co-workers all hate him. And it's well known. In fact, what I got fired for was reporting this gentleman to Human Resources for spreading rumors about me. And what was actually kind of ridiculous about it is supposedly all these people had my back. If I would report him, nobody had my back, essentially, is what happened. So the hammer came down on me. What's interesting is, it's word for word what workplace mobbing is. And workplace mobbing is a real thing. It's definitely dealt with by, it's accepted by psychologists, by counselors, by OSHA. It's accepted as a real thing by the government, by, different bodies of people that, do these things. It's accepted by law enforcement, things of that nature, as a real thing. But gang stalking isn't. And I think the reason why is because gang stalking seems so unreasonable, though I don't really understand why. Because essentially, at least in my situation, it's the same crap that went on at work, but taken to the internet and taken to real life. One of the things that my one supervisor would do is she would like to spy on people's emails and then repeat the contents of the emails to you to try and, shake you up, like she knows everything about everything. Or she would get information from your coworkers and try and shake you up with that, which is essentially what's going on with a lot of this stuff. They'll repeat private conversations I had with a friend. Well, I guess I shouldn't be calling him a friend anymore. They'll repeat private conversations I had with a friend of mine online to shake me up, or they'll mention things about my personal life to shake me up. So essentially it's the same thing as workplace mobbing, but taken outside of the workplace. And it's actually funny because I do understand why people think it's crazy. Like I said in previous videos, I really did think it was insane that people are actually this preoccupied with somebody like me. Especially somebody that did nothing to... I mean, I wrote a couple negative reviews about the company. Oh well, if you don't want, if you don't want the negative reviews, simply run your place of business in a more responsible manner. But apparently that's beyond their capability or beyond their desire or what have you. Essentially, luckily I do have eyewitness evidence, third-party eyewitness evidence about certain things that had happened in person regarding an employee of this, actually the employee that was spreading the rumors about me. Now, whether he's the one that's in charge of the gang stalking now, I highly doubt. And the reason I highly doubt is my friend that works there tried to throw him under the bus, tried to make me think it was him that was doing it, and that it was definitely not the person, my former supervisor, that I'm pretty sure it definitely is at this point. Because about the only thing she didn't do is say, yep, it's me. So essentially, basically, they're trying to use this dude as fodder. They're trying to use him to distract me because they know I have animosity toward him for how things went down at work, but it doesn't work. I'm not as stupid as he is, which is why, if you remember, when he was hired, well, if the people that, worked with me are watching, which I know they are, he can't read, he can't write, he's a complete idiot. You had to give him a job that didn't require extensive record keeping or note taking because he's a complete idiot. I don't know if he has dyslexia or if he's just plain dumb, but that's the situation. So my point is that there should be no. It should not be hard for law enforcement to recognize the fact that gang stalking is a real phenomenon. If they accept workplace mobbing, they should accept gang stalking. It is the same thing. The difference is gang stalking victims, I believe, are way more emotionally unstable than people that are mobbed at a workplace. And I think that's a big reason why people don't take it as seriously, especially law enforcement, because they remind you of the people that done saw a UFO and some aliens that stuck a silver metallic corn cob up their cornhole and whatnot. So I think that plays a big role, is the mental instability and emotional instability of the victims of gang stalking. And it does drive you nuts, because what it is they drop breadcrumbs of information, like mentioning personal things about you publicly, which lets you know that they know who you are. And you start thinking, well, who could this possibly be? Who could this possibly be? So it does, even somebody like me, I would consider myself, I have some severe mental health issues, don't get me wrong, I have PTSD and things of that nature, but I would consider myself more or less emotionally stable compared to the average kook. I'm emotionally stable. But even me, it got me questioning the validity of my own thoughts, because it's like, well, how does this person know me? How did this person know this? And how did this person know that? And da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it leads you to the point where you can't trust, which is true. A lot of people that talk about narcissists and this sort of thing, the psychologists and whatnot that do, they mention that it can be your closest friend. And I think that is a big part of what was going on here. I don't think that dude was involved firsthand with it, but he was definitely feeding them information so that they could then put it on the internet. And it doesn't bother me. I mean, that's what they don't understand, is it's not going to shake me up like it does other people, especially now that they're admitting who they are. I mean, virtually admitting who they are. It doesn't bother me one bit. And that's the thing that's interesting. But I'm going to leave links to what workplace mobbing is, and some of the links will deal with how it's related to gang stalking. But I do want people to know, I mean, I'm not one of these people that believes in the psychotronic weapons and secret military. I'm not saying that the military didn't do, what do you call it? I'm not saying that the top secret behavioral modification stuff that was done by the CIA that's been declassified, I'm not saying that didn't exist or didn't happen, or the stuff that Lieutenant Colonel Aquino did in Vietnam didn't happen. We all know that did happen. It's declassified. It's common knowledge. But that's not what's going on with gang stalking. Okay, that's just the truth. I think it's kind of seriously ridiculous when people are trying to attach Lieutenant Colonel Aquino to this, and Anton LaVey, and all this other crap. That has nothing to do with this. What this is basically just organized harassment of individuals. Now, for some people, it might involve things like religious organizations and things like that. But for the most part, at least in my situation, I know who these people are. And I think that if people that are, quote, targeted individuals thought long and hard about who it is, they'd probably figure out who's doing it to them too. And that's all for this video. Check the description for the links.